Hello, this is Paul with Logix Training, and today we're going to talk about how to ace your PLC programmer's interview. We all know what it's like. You get that call, you have an interview. Then the night before, you're laying in bed, and thoughts start rushing through your mind. If this is your first PLC programmer's job, am I good enough? How hard's the test going to be? What questions are they going to ask? We've all been there. We've all been there, and you just have to get through it. Now, what I can tell you is there are some things you can do that virtually guarantee you're going to ace your interview, your very first interview even. Now, let me put a caveat in there. If you have an interview tomorrow morning, this may not be as helpful as you'd like it to be. But if you put in a little bit of work ahead of time, I can almost guarantee you're going to ace that interview, even if it's your very first one, if you follow this advice. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. I'm excited to share this with you. So, it begins before you even get your phone call from a prospective employer. They look at your resume. Your resume does essentially one thing. Well, one thing, really. It separates those who have the competence to do the job and those who don't. Now, I will say it can further help segregate and separate those who hit certain criteria, such as maybe a college degree, years of experience, etc. But essentially, can you do the job? That's predominantly the number one goal of the resume. Now, it doesn't end there. If you have a phone interview, that's very important. The very first phase of any interview for a PLC programmer is to find out, can you do the job first? And there's some things we can do to position ourselves really, really well, even if we're brand new. And it's fantastic, and it works all the time. I'm going to share them with you right now. So, it's a formula I call the OWE, right? It's called the overwhelming evidence process, right? So, it's based on the rule of evidence. So let's look at what the rule of evidence is. If somebody says they can lift 5,000 pounds, and you look at them and they're real skinny, you're probably not going to believe it. Now, if you see it one time, you'll be like, wow. Some of us, we only got to see it one time. Some of us are going to be more skeptical and say, no, there's a trick to it. I got to see it some more and some more. I got to watch from behind. I got to watch from to the side. I got to go lift it and try and pick it up myself. I really have to see this a lot more. I've got to see it many, many times. Then at some point, whatever that number is, and we're all different, we're going to potentially, we're just going to say, yeah, hey, that guy can lift 5,000 pounds. And then some of us are going to feel there's no way. It's absolutely impossible for that skinny guy to pick up 5,000 pounds. We're never going to believe it. No matter how many times we see it, no matter what, we're never going to believe it. With that being said, we can take advantage of this rule of evidence. And how that's done is with an overwhelming amount of evidence, right? When it comes to skill set, that's what we need to have. And it really does, what I'm going to share with you next, you can very quickly and easily get through the competence phase very quickly with a projects portfolio. Now, projects portfolio is a very well thought out, designed set of projects that demonstrate your skill set. It's very unique to you and no one else. And I don't mean to go on Udemy, pay $10, take a course, and then use that as your part of your portfolio. You need to think at a much, much higher level, integrating cameras, demonstrating knowledge about robotics, demonstrating knowledge about controls wiring, the type of projects and type of work that you just don't find on the internet in some $10 or $30 program. Instead, you need to think at a much higher level, right? Now, if you have enough of these, that by itself will very, very quickly move you through the competence part of the interview. Now, that's not to say they won't have questions. They might dig a little bit. But if you have enough of these projects in your portfolio, it really makes this first phase smooth right through. Because what you're doing, even on the very first interview, is demonstrating you can do the job. And if you've done the work on the portfolios and you're very knowledgeable about it, you're going to go in there knowing I can do this level of work. No question about it. I'm confident, even maybe a little cocky. I can do this. No question about it. The competence phase does not worry me. Now, what happens to a lot of new people is the competence phase worries them. Okay? They're worried about being found out what they don't know. My personal perspective is get really, really good and put together some really high-level programs in your portfolio, and you'll breeze through this phase. Now, once you're through the competence phase, they generally reveal that this part of the phase, you're moving from phase 1 to phase 2 when they start telling you a little bit about what they got going on. Or they ask you, do you have any questions, right? And this happens long before the end. They give you an opportunity to ask any questions about the job and about the opportunity. This is when you turn into the consultant, right? And the reason there's a goal here, and the goal is to find a good fit for you. Not every PLC programming job out there is a good fit for you. What you don't want to do is overcommit, oversell yourself. You want to find a good fit. And that's a whole nother subject by itself. But to really find out, is it a good fit for you, is to then take the position of the consultant. So I've walked in there, I've demonstrated I have real value. I've shown that I'm very confident in my skill set. Now what I want to do is I want to dig deep into why are you hiring, right? Who are you working with? Who's your customers? What are the challenges you're facing? When are you planning on bringing somebody on board? How are you going to be moving forward? What is that going to look like as you move forward? Where are your challenges, and what departments, and what technology, what skill set? You really want to go through this phase. And the problem is most, especially new PLC programmers, they don't take this approach, and they just expect that the company is going to, in the company's perspective, they should have a goal to want to find the perfect fit, right? The problem with that is they just met you. You look at your portfolio, it looks good, but there might be a lot of other questions that you need to have answered. Will I be working alone? Will I be working out with a team? Will I be traveling? What type of support and resources are you providing? Tools, equipment, all of these things. Is there a timeline? Is this a 3-month, 6-month job? Are there multiple projects? What is the opportunity? What does the opportunity look like? And you have to listen to this, and you have to ask the right questions so that you can understand what you're getting yourself into. If you oversell yourself, you're going to fail. They will find out, and you're going to have a real challenge on your hands very, very quickly. Instead, avoid that. Be patient. If this job doesn't work out, another one will come. I promise you. What you need to do is be mature, and you need to be patient, and you need to be professional. Ask the important questions. If for some reason they appear to be hiding something or not telling you the information, that to the very general questions you're asking, you need to concern yourself. Maybe they are hiding something. Maybe they're not sharing some of the real challenges that they're having, and you're going to be tossed into the meat grinder. Having been there, trust me, you do not want to take that job. Walk away. Instead, try and find a job that has good balance, a good stream flow. Things are coming in, projects are moving forward. They just need somebody to fill a specific set of skill sets and to join the team, and it's the right skill sets with the right job culture and the job structure that fits you and your lifestyle. Then you can say, yes, I'm really interested. In your mind, yeah, this seems like a real good fit. If it doesn't, politely say, I'm not sure that this would be a good fit for me. I appreciate you taking the time. If another opportunity arises, feel free to consider me for an opportunity at a later time. Now, I make that gesture via email only. I would just do the interview, take my assessments, thank them for their time, and let them know if a job opportunity is offered, and then I would decline via email. So that's how I handle it. But don't jump into a job when you know that it's going to be challenging, extremely challenging, and you think you're going to come in there, you're going to make some big difference. You're new. You're not going to make a huge difference. Not at first. In time, you will gain the knowledge and experience to make a monumental impact. But at first, you're going to join the team. And if the team and the company and the structure is not sound, and they're sinking and they're challenged and they're all those things, don't rush into it. I'm just giving you a heads up. Take your time, be mature, be patient. If that job doesn't work out, another one will come up. I promise you. All right. Once you've got the assessment of where the company's at, what they're shooting for, what the job's like, some of the challenges that they're having, and you got a good fit for it, the next phase really comes down to culture, right? Sometimes if you're like this guy, the culture probably might come in sooner than the third phase. But often what happens is you're moving into this phase, and you're into this phase because they start talking about you meeting other people on the team. And at that point, you're kind of in that next phase. So with this interviewer, if they've covered the competence portion, if they've let you interview them and consult on their challenges, then meeting other people is as much about will you be a good fit in the culture sense than anything else. Now, when you're meeting other people, the first interviewer basically has to say, hey, this person has passed my competence assessment. I've given them the real outline of the challenges that we have and the opportunities that we have. So, they understand that. But I want you to meet them. I want you to kind of, sign off on them. That's essentially what they're saying. And here's the question you got to ask yourself when it comes to culture. All right. It's a matter of personality and culture. You say a company should never judge you on your beliefs, your goals, your passion. And I agree 100%. However, most companies are small group, family-like cultures. And you got to realize that while you should never be judged on that, in companies, they want somebody like that is like them because like attracts like. This person here could most successfully succeed in the company that has this culture. Tattoos, very freestyle, etc. But if they're trying to fit into let's say an inner city controls engineering company that's worked hard to build their reputation as very, very professional, and then this is the guy that shows up to work on their machine, their customers, they care about two things. One, that the job's done, it's done right for a reasonable price. But two, that they look at this person and create a relationship with this person. They have to trust them. Now, right or wrong, this person to a lot of people would not, if it was a vote, they would not vote that this is a highly trustworthy person. Now, it's got nothing to do with what the facts are. It's a matter of how you look, how you act. You're going to be representing the company. So I recommend that you take a look and assess your culture, your personality, your passions, things that you go things that you work on after work, and try to marry them well with a company that accepts your particular culture. If you get in there and everybody's in a suit and tie and you're going in there with torn jeans and tattoos all over, there's nothing wrong with either one of them. It's just probably not going to be a good culture fit. All right. So there's something considered before the interview, and most certainly something that's going to happen throughout the interview. They're going to assess a culture fit. They're going to listen to your voice. And if you've been listening to this for the last 15 minutes, I have a very sore voice right now, but they're going to listen to your voice. They're going to listen to your words. They're going to probe questions. They're going to take a look at, your appearance. Those all matter. Okay. They shouldn't. Everyone says they shouldn't. The law says they shouldn't. But then again, like attracts like. All right. All right. Once you've passed the culture test, once you've have a thorough consultation, understand their challenges and opportunities. Once you've passed the competence phase, you're going to be into the compensation phase. And this is an important phase. And often this is done wrong, especially 99% of the time, a new PLC programmer screws this up. All right. Because we're so excited. All we want is the job opportunity. We'll figure out everything else later. But that's definitely a path for ruin. All right. Rule number 1 on compensation is, and everybody uses it, it's an old school strategy, get them to tell you what the pay, reveal the number first. Okay. Now, they may have put something that's advertised. So when they ask you, so where are you at in your compensation range, or what are you looking for compensation? You can very quickly use their words by saying, well, in the advertisement, the range was between such and such. I'm within that range. Okay. Very, very simple. Very easy to reuse their words, right? And then you don't have to put out your number. They put out the number. They put it out first. What you don't know is how much they would be willing to pay you. That's the real challenge. And you may think, even if you do have an idea what they're going to pay you, you might think, I'm worth a whole lot more than that. So keep calm. And remember, this is a negotiation, even if it's your first PLC programmer's job. They need someone. And if you got to this part of the interview process, they want you, right? It's a negotiation. And a good negotiation is you never tip your cards, right? Let them talk let them put dollars out there. And then your job is to move those numbers in the direction that you want to move them in. This will be a whole video all by itself. It's a very complex choreography, but in short, let them come up with the range. If you don't want to reveal your dollar amount, say what range were you considering, and then put them on their back toes. They got to produce some numbers, right? All right. So when I talk about nailing them, what you want to do is get them to reveal and that number and then stick to it. You want them to reveal a hard number, okay? They have a number in mind, or at minimum a range, all right? And you want to get them to reveal as much of that as possible, and you want to nail them. You want to get them pinned down to a number. And then what I do when I need to move that number up is very easily, all I say is, If you have to reveal a number, they're just not quite budging, then reveal a range. All right? Just give them a range. This is the range that I'm thinking about within this range. But you have to put that out there, and you got to be willing to put that out there. And remember, it's a negotiation. You put your numbers out there, put their numbers out, and somewhere in the middle you try and find that that sweet spot, right? Whatever you do, do not just accept whatever they give you. No matter if they give you a number that you're excited about, be patient. Tell them you'll consider it, and that you will notify them about your decision at a later time. Because you want to have time to think it through. What seems valuable at that moment might not be thought through, because remember, you've learned a lot about this company right then. The challenges, the opportunities, you got to consider maybe a relocation, maybe the distance is over an hour's drive. All these things need to be considered, and you don't want to do that during the interview. What you want to do is go home and think about it and process it. Even if it's a great dollar amount, do not accept the offer in the office. Don't do it. Go home and think about it, and tell them you'll notify them via email, and then accept it through the email. All right? If there's room for negotiation, then you put the negotiation request in the email. That way, you're in the comfort of your home. You're the king in your home, and you're not in somebody else's home where they have all the power. In a negotiation, that's very important. Negotiate in a safe space, to use that phrase. All right? So this could be a whole video all by itself, several videos actually, but this is enough to get you started. This video is going long, so I thought I'd take a few minutes and share this with you, and hopefully this is helpful. All right, so if you need any assistance preparing for your interview, go ahead and contact me at info@logicsmagazine.com, and I'll help you. We can practice interviewing, we can talk about salary and pay, look at your resume, all that kind of stuff, so that you're prepared. You're really prepared. Take a look at your portfolio to walk into the interview and get the best fit for you. All right, so until next time, this is Paul with Logics Training at Logics Magazine. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.